we talk about academic innovation, right? It's big and small, and it can be so many different things. But I think when you offer that example around AI, I think academic innovation is pushing our faculty to, think pedagogically differently around assessment and evaluation and engagement.
And so, their positionality,
that's right.
Their role in the classroom.
That's right. And so as you are thinking about these kinds of things for your institutions, what are some of the things that are coming up for you all?
Yeah, well, I think too, as for professional development and exposure, learn about the brain. You don't have to be a neuroscientist, but learn some basics about how our brains work, how we learn. And it can be very, subtle. And so a lot of the things that we do at National is through a templatized approach or a framework approach to how we build classes and design classes with our learning experience designers, and how we really interweave and weave in those concepts, again, of interleaving, of force retrieval, and several other ideas that really help engage how the brain works naturally. And so talking through that with faculty, being able to explain why these elements are in the framework where they are, helps really elevate their knowledge of the brain and how we can better teach and learn. And so I think that's one of the bigger things to look at. I also think it's really important for folks to know about ADA compliancy, especially online. We have to. And so that draws in more ways to be connected and more ways to, not just the basics of if somebody needs a screen reader, if somebody needs different ways to absorb the content, it also helps bring in some of the inclusion elements as well, and I think it's really important.
I think it's important that we keep in mind the perspective of the faculty member and how quickly and easily they can be overwhelmed with the amount of technology, the amount of change that's happening in the world. And thinking back to what Tom Tobin mentioned this morning with Universal Design for Learning and the +1. Just take one step at a time. Try one thing. Don't try and do it all at the same time, but one step at a time. And if we meet our faculty where they are and help guide them into what's that next step that you can take. And then when they're comfortable with that, we can together support you in taking the next step. And really thinking of a guided approach as opposed to a sort of a waterfall of change.
As I'm listening to you, Gloria, it just reminds me just of academic innovation, period, right? Like that iterative approach. You have to really kind of continue to evolve, continue to tweak. And I think that is just true in all of the work that we're doing in these spaces.
Absolutely. I think that we make collecting data, collecting feedback and information a lot more complicated than it needs to be. And as long as we can build a culture where we can share with each other, we can iterate, we can pilot things, talk about what went right, what went wrong, we'll be better prepared for that future that we're building towards.